Hello, Star Wars Galaxy of Hero players, and Ordo here. Today, I'm going to talk about baiting Wampa. And this is more for like the mid game because it sounds like a lot of people in the top Kyber 1 tier doesn't struggle with having to deal with a Wampa team because every team out there Wampa just cannot beat. Unless they decide to buff Wampa again. And if you want me to throw my 2 cents in another video, just let me know in the comments below. What is Anitesh Ordo's thoughts on how Wampa should be touched up? But I digress. I want to talk about Wampa being baited out by Iden Versio in this video. And there's a few caveats to this. One, you got to make sure that the enemy Wampa does not have hardly any tenacity. Wampa's base tenacity is 50%. Omicron adds 100%. That's 150%. So if they only even have barely 97% tenacity, and I've done it with verse those 97% tenacities, where it's 90, so it'll be 197. And it's just because of how high the potency is on Iden Versio. So yeah, like I have 158%. I get almost 30% more on some of the datacrons I get anytime there's a protection up datacron, which does work with both. Anytime a datacron has protection up at the start of the battle, Iden Versio is going to enjoy that. However, keep in mind, Wampa gains bonuses in tenacity and offense too, so they can go both ways. But just keep in mind, this is all dependent on if they decide to use Wampa against your Iden Versio. Because if you could bait that Wampa out, and you open stun and just mow him down, and then Wampa finally takes a turn and dies or whatever, it could, sometimes you could just take that Wampa out. And if that Wampa is taken out, that means you're free reign to go against... they'd have to use other things against the Iden team. Because now the full team of Iden Versio has to turn meter and it's game set match. They have to find something to counter it. Or sometimes, even it's happened with me, they decide, I'm just going to throw a GL against it. That's always a win right there. Now again, keep in mind they got to choose to use that Wampa. Have that Wampa low enough tenacity, which... yeah, no Iden stunning my Wampa. Unless they literally start off with protection up, potency up. They'd have to start off with a lot just to stun my Wampa. And right now, almost every Iden Versio is just Wampa go. Now, keep in mind, there's other caveats too. This is not with Scout Trooper. This is not with TIE Pilot or Scout Trooper. Some people break up the Iden team a little bit and throw in TIE Pilot, which should be an Imperial Trooper, mind you, but unfortunately is not. But also, Scout Trooper. Scout Trooper would stop Wampas because I think it's one of these two give days that can't be resisted, and that would stop Wampa. Because Iden would go, call everyone to assist, Wampa would gain some turn meter, counter back or whatever, take his turn, do his slam, and then once Scout Trooper goes, he's gonna shut down that Wampa with an automatic daze, and then your Iden's just gonna go to town on it. So, and Iden's second ability would cleanse up any dots that Wampa applies. So just some things to keep in mind with that. And I obviously, at this point, I'm going to show quickly a few instances of me just, holding them down. 3v3 and 5v5. It's always fun and satisfying to just sit there, slap Iden down, and then someone runs out a little to no tenacity Wampa, and boom, gets crushed. Especially those Wampas that don't have any real investment in their mods at all. They're just slapped on crit damage, crit chance mods, crit chance or crit damage and potency mods, and there's no tenacity invested, and they're just not even really invested. They're just hoping to use Wampa to take out some of these weaker teams, and that's the end of it. And they experienced fighting Iden Versios at low level. Now, keep in mind, it does depend on Iden Versio being a full potency build. Because there are some builds with speed, a speed build, and that's usually to make, but you also have to have a slower Piet and this and that, and that's always usually to counter Lord Vader teams if someone wants to go that route. where instead of Shock T, you run Iden Versio. In my instance, I'd rather go Shock T if I really needed to clean up a Lord Vader, so that Shock T would cleanse the team, and then the Imperial Troopers would go and step on Lord Vader. But again, that's just if that's the case. But Iden Versio, I feel like for the most part, I like the idea of potency, because if I can trick those people, like if I make sure everything on the front wall, Wampa can't solo except the Iden team, they're going to be like, ooh, there's a Wampa counter. I can finally use my Wampa again. My hardly any health, or, poorly modded Wampa, my Wampa will just steamroll that. And then Wampa gets steamrolled instead. That's the key of what the point of making sure your Iden has tons of potency. And keep in mind, you can get the potency up to 107. I think the highest is like about 178% potency, and you can get higher because some of these potency mods can roll higher than what I have. See, there's 10.8. So one interesting thing is it rolls 1.5 to 3% when you roll. Let me find a tenacity. 1.5 to 3. The reason why I'm going about this, I have 10% tenacity there. I have 7 there. 10% there. 9% there. So you see what I'm going with. And let's go, yeah, right here, 13% on my ISC. So you can get your potency up real high on a bit, especially like even Wampa, if you wanted to go potency so you can land those dazes, land those healing immunities. I wouldn't recommend it. Splashing potency with them is fine, but with Iden Versio, she has she has the base potency of 50%, as you can see right there. 108% plus 50, or 158 minus 108 is 50%. So if I can get a 50% tenacity, like here you go. So again, the potency and tenacity rolls the exact same. I'm gonna get my high tenacity on Wampa. Look where I can get Wampa. 202. So if you can get your Iden, just imagine that, 202% potency. Yeah, you can really bait out. But then again, that's also God tier mods. God tier rolling those mods, because those mods, yeah, it's a struggle to get some of these mods up there. I'm just blessed that I really focused hard on the tenacity side. I do plan on improving more mods on more potency rolls later. Right now, I'm just trying to finish up some Dr. Afra and stuff like that. But again, that's the reason why I actually run Iden Versio high potency. Because if I can bait out that person's Wampa, then that's game, set, match for me. Now they have a turn meter team they have to fight through, especially in 3v3. And because I've actually had people just sitting there say they'd send a few teams, they couldn't beat it, and then it's like, well, here you go. I guess now I gotta have to use my GL just to beat it, just to get past that. And if you can eat up some of their teams, even if they're like mid-tier teams, that's great. That's great. Granted, yes, you do got to keep in mind, if they don't placing their Rogue One team on defense and they put it on offense, yes, you will, in fact, have that baited out there instead. So it goes both ways. But again, if you want to bait out their Wampa and their Wampas are crappy, I just love slapping this on defense and just say, okay, have fun, enemy. And a lot of the times it's like, oh, there's 2-3 holds on Iden Versio, because they just decide to do that route. So, but aside from that, let me know in the comments below, how do you bait out Wampa a little bit? Do you like to try to? Again, I don't have Scout Trooper in this team because I want to use the Datacrons, because it gives some more oomph. I will say, like in 3v3, I do sometimes get holds with these guys against Wampa, and I have both Iden and Gar Saxon on defense, and I'm getting holds left and right with both of them, either Wampa on one or the other. Sometimes Wampa will beat this team, just keep in mind. It just depends on how high their potency is on Wampa. So, but again, Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on this team composition? Also, side note, if you ever run across this guy, or even TIE Pilot on Sith Eternal team, and you're going to use your Wampa against it, don't. Do not. Especially if they have a Count Dooku, Darth Sidious, you're just done. Because once Sith Eternal calls to assist, Wampa's going to get Tenacity down, and that just shuts him down. Tenacity down is a Wampa's most hated debuff. Outside of daze, shock, and stun. So, but again, let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate all those watch videos I make. And I would really appreciate if you guys could like, comment, subscribe, and share. So more people can know about this. Maybe get some people out there to maybe improve their Wampa mods. Because Wampa mods are really key to being very useful. Especially in 3v3. I tend to use them a lot more in 3v3 than 5v5 as of late. So, just saying. Thank you for watching. Have a phenomenal day.